150 million euros. Like, that is the exact offer Real Madrid just literally laid on the table for Atletico Madrid's Julián Álvarez.
Yeah, and Atletico didn't just, politely decline. They pointed straight to his 500 million release clause and basically slammed the door.
Right, just shut it completely in the club's face. But, I mean, the real question we need to answer for you today is, was this actually a genuine attempt to buy a player?
Or did we just witness a massive, incredibly expensive political illusion?
Exactly. Because look, today is Tuesday, June 9th, 2026. Florentino Perez just secured his mandate. He won the elections, and the club is just in a state of absolute unadulterated frenzy right now.
It's total chaos. I mean, the dust hasn't even settled from the ballots yet. We're looking at a club operating at maximum velocity, but, potentially without a steering wheel at this point.
Yeah, which is why welcome to this high-octane deep dive into the heart of the Bernabeu. Our mission today is to ruthlessly dissect the chaos of this current board.
And the terrifying brilliance of it, honestly.
True, true. We're breaking down this rejected bid, the impending arrival of José Mourinho today, this massive tactical crisis up front, and, how on earth the club plans to finance all of this.
Because the financial reality is just staggering.
It really is. So let's unpack this Álvarez offer right away, because the mechanics of it just do not make sense if you look at it purely as a sporting decision.
Not at all.
It feels like a high-stakes poker bluff at a casino, right? You push all your chips to the middle of the table, not because you actually have a winning hand.
But because you want the entire room to look at you and fear you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So was Florentino ever actually trying to sign Julián Álvarez? Because the opposition in this election was loudly promising Erling Haaland and Rodri. Was this just an obscenely expensive political stunt to quiet them down?
Look, it has to be a calculated stunt. You do not just wake up and drop 150 million on a fierce city rival striker without a meticulously mapped motive.
Yeah.
I mean, let's look at the raw data on Álvarez. We are talking about a player who went 14 consecutive league games without a single goal this year.
14? That is a massive drought.
Right. A phenomenal worker, undoubtedly. Like, he presses, he runs, he bleeds for the shirt, and his tactical discipline is elite. But is he worth 150 million of Real Madrid's capital?
No way.
Not a chance. This was a maneuver to project absolute financial muscle to you, the listener, and specifically to the socios, right? The club members who actually hold the voting power.
Because Perez needed to prove that the club could still swing the heaviest bat in the transfer market.
Exactly, neutralizing the opposition's promises of Haaland.
But wait, let's look at the immense risk involved in that maneuver. You're saying it's a bluff, but what if Apollo, the massive American investment group that just took ownership of Atletico, what if they had actually called that bluff?
Oh, man. That would have been...
Because we are not dealing with the old romantic ownership anymore. Apollo Global Management does not care about the romance of the Madrid derby.
No, they're a private equity firm. They're just looking at an asset.
Right. They don't care about the Manzanares River or local rivalries. If they had simply looked at that 150 million, realized it balanced their own books perfectly, and said, yes, thank you, we'll take the money.
Real Madrid would have been contractually forced to buy a player they have absolutely no room for.
Florentino basically played Russian roulette with a private equity firm.
He did. And the fallout from that would have been an absolute tactical nightmare of apocalyptic proportions.
Seriously?
If Apollo had accepted, Real Madrid would be in total freefall right now. To understand why, you have to look at the internal admission that is already circulating quietly through the corridors of Valdebebas.
Oh, the whisper about the attack.
Yeah. The internal admission is that Kylian Mbappé has not been playing in his position.
Wow. I mean, that is a staggering admission.
It really is.
The club broke the universe to bring him here, moved actual mountains of financial capital, and now we are admitting he is playing out of position.
He is entirely bottlenecked. Now imagine adding Julián Álvarez to that equation. It is just tactical suicide.
Because of the spatial dynamics, right?
Yeah, we're talking about fundamental spatial dynamics on a football pitch.
Yeah.
Mbappé and Vinicius both naturally want to occupy the exact same blade of grass. That left half space.
They both want to start wide and cut inside onto their dominant right foot.
Exactly, and drive toward the penalty spot. When you have two hyper-elite players demanding the exact same operational zone, they neutralize each other.
It is like having a hyper-expensive sports car, but you've installed 3 steering wheels.
That is the perfect way to put it.
Everyone wants to drive. And they are violently fighting for control, and we haven't even mentioned the rest of the attacking logjam.
Yeah, Brahim Diaz.
We have Brahim, we have Rodrigo returning from injury, and we have ENDRICK coming back from what was an absolutely brilliant loan spell at Lyon. Where does an incoming 150 million euro Alvarez even sit in the locker room, let alone on the pitch?
ENDRICK is the massive variable that complicates this even further, honestly. The internal intel on him is crystal clear right now. José Mourinho is incredibly excited to work with ENDRICK.
Really?
Yeah, Mourinho does not want ENDRICK rotting on the bench after a stellar season in France. In Mourinho's favored, rigid 4-2-3-1 system, he sees ENDRICK specifically as a pure striker or playing out on the right wing.
Wait, let me stop you right there and challenge that tactical setup.
Go ahead.
If Mourinho is installing a rigid 4-2-3-1, and ENDRICK is your dynamic piece on the right, and Jude Bellingham is your undisputed number 10 operating behind the striker.
Right.
What happens to Mbappe and Vinicius? As you just said, they both demand the left wing. You cannot fit them both into a 4-2-3-1 without benching one of the most expensive players in the history of the sport.
No, you literally can't.
So what does this actually mean for the boardroom? Are we looking at a scenario where the club might consider doing the unthinkable to balance the squad? Do they sell Vinicius?
Look, selling a player of that magnitude is never that simple. You cannot just sell Vinicius like you are trading a tech stock on the open market, you know.
Because of the massive contract leverage.
Exactly. The leverage issues with modern mega contracts are a massive headache. When a player is on the wages Vinicius commands, your pool of potential buyers shrinks to maybe 3 clubs on the planet.
Right.
And crucially, if the player does not want to leave, he simply does not leave. Furthermore, you have to factor in how transfer fees are amortized over the length of a contract.
So selling him doesn't just magically deposit 150 million into the checking account.
No, it triggers complex accounting mechanisms regarding remaining book value. The club has zero leverage to force a sale right now.
Which means the manager has to solve a problem the board created. And that brings us to today's massive shift in reality. The general lands today.
José Mourinho touches down in Madrid.
To take over a squad that is violently unbalanced, he is the 4th coach in 15 months, which tells you everything you need to know about the institutional instability right now.
Absolute chaos. Arbeloa's exit will be announced first, clearing the deck, and then Mourinho is presented tomorrow.
And from everything we are hearing, Mourinho is not looking at attackers. He is building a war room, and he is starting from the back.
Because Mourinho sees the fundamental imbalance of the squad. He knows you cannot win a war if your defense is made of paper, regardless of how many Galacticos you stack up front.
While the board is playing political games, throwing ghost bids at Atletico, Mourinho is demanding specific, battle-hardened soldiers.
He wants a rigid, impenetrable defensive structure. And the club is actually listening to him on this front.
We know Denzel Dumfries is locked in. That is a 50 million euro package spread over 4 years to secure the right flank.
Huge signing. And Ibrahima Konate is secured for the center.
And now the internal target is Ricardo Calafiori for around 40 to 45 million. They want him specifically for that left-sided defensive hybrid role.
Calafiori is the perfect example of Mourinho's pragmatism, really. He wants a left-sided defender who can operate as a traditional fullback, but tuck in to form a back 3 when in possession.
Why? To cover the attackers.
Exactly, because he knows that his left-sided attackers, Mbappe or Vinicius, are not going to track back and defend. He is building a defensive safety net to compensate for the luxury players up front.
I see.
Dumfries provides the aggressive width on the right, balancing the fact that all of Madrid's attackers naturally drift to the left. It is a tactical band-aid for a structurally flawed roster.
But this raises a profound question about authority, man. Mourinho wants a rigid defense. He wants Bernardo Silva orchestrating the midfield, dictating the tempo, and ensuring defensive shape.
Right.
But he is inheriting a top-heavy squad of superstars who historically refuse to do the dirty work out of possession. Mourinho's entire brand is built on absolute collective sacrifice.
Absolute sacrifice, yeah.
Has he actually been guaranteed by Florentino Perez that he has the institutional backing to discipline these players? Will Mourinho be the one to look 100 million euro Galactico in the eye, point to the bench and say, sit down?
I mean, if anyone has the ego, the track record, and the sheer audacity to do it, it is José Mourinho. But the friction that will cause in the dressing room will be highly radioactive.
Oh, it's going to be toxic.
You are talking about benching commercial assets that the club relies on for global marketing. If Perez backs the manager over the asset, he risks devaluing the player.
And if he backs the player over the manager?
Mourinho loses the dressing room in a matter of weeks. And navigating that political minefield brings us to the most terrifying roadblock of this entire revolution: finances.
Right.
Mourinho's defensive war requires cash, and right now, the club's wallet is severely compromised.
Let's dive deep into funding this war, because the numbers being thrown around are staggering. We have massive financial news to digest.
The Emirates deal.
Yes. Real Madrid has just renewed their shirt sponsorship with Emirates until 2031. This extension pushes the deal close to an absolute mammoth €100 million per year.
It is a historic injection of guaranteed revenue.
On the surface, it sounds like the club just found the ultimate cheat code to fund Mourinho's demands.
The headline number is massive, undoubtedly. But we need to look under the hood and deliver the cold, hard, mathematical truth here.
Which is it?
Think of that Emirates deal like getting a massive raise at your job, right? But you have already maxed out 5 high-interest credit cards, buying luxury sports cars over the last 3 years.
Ouch.
The new income is fantastic, but it is immediately swallowed by historical debt. Real Madrid is currently sitting on a negative net spend of over €300 million racked up over recent transfer windows. They have bought heavily and sold poorly.
So the Emirates money just services the existing deficit. It doesn't give them new spending power under La Liga's strict salary caps and financial fair play regulations.
Precisely. They are bleeding capital from an accounting perspective. The club must sell. It is not an option. It is a mathematical imperative.
Wow.
You cannot fund €150 million ghost bids and €150 million worth of defensive reinforcements without generating pure profit on the balance sheet.
And look at who the board is allegedly talking about selling to fix this. They are floating the idea of moving Dani Ceballos,
who earns $5 million net per season and spends half the year in the medical room. His book value is incredibly low.
And they're talking about loaning out brilliant youngsters like NICO to Como so he can get Champions League minutes. Loaning NICO is fantastic for his development, but it generates zero immediate revenue.
Collecting pennies when you owe millions.
You cannot fund a €150 million tactical revolution by having a yard sale with Dani Ceballos' old boots. It is insulting to the intelligence of anyone who understands football finance.
The club seems entirely paralyzed by the prospect of making a hard, unpopular decision. They are terrified of the PR backlash that comes with selling a fan favorite.
They've lost their nerve.
But to balance the books, to give Mourinho the war chest, he actually needs to secure Dumfries, Konate, and Calafiori. And to fix that negative $300 million hole, you have to generate massive capital gains.
Look back at the modern history of this institution. Real Madrid used to be a ruthless, calculating machine. When they needed to fund the Gareth Bale era, they sold Mesut Ozil in his absolute prime.
Right.
When they needed to rebuild after the Decima, they sold Angel Di Maria, the man of the match in the Champions League final. They sold Gonzalo Higuain to Napoli for a massive fee. They ruthlessly sacrificed prime superstars to fund the next evolution of the squad.
They did.
So who is the sacrificial lamb today? If we need 80 to 100 million euros of pure profit to satisfy the accountants and Mourinho, who goes? Is it Aurélien Tchouaméni? Is it Fede Valverde?
That is the critical question hanging over Valdebebas right now. The current culture of the board has lost that ruthless edge, but the mathematics of La Liga's financial controls do not care about sentimentality.
No, they don't.
You have to sell a starter. You have to put a player like Tchouaméni, who holds immense market value in the Premier League, or a Valverde on the market.
Because if they don't...
If they do not rediscover that ruthless edge before the transfer window slams shut in August, the math simply will not work, and Mourinho will be left fighting a war without ammunition.
Let's bring all these threads together for you, because the state of this club right now is incredibly explosive. To summarize, we are sitting on a violently unbalanced squad where the most expensive players in the world are fighting for the same square footage on the pitch.
Yep.
We have a board playing high-stakes political games, throwing $150 million at a private equity-owned rival just to win a news cycle.
We are hemorrhaging money with a $300 million negative net spend.
Trying to fix a bullet wound with the Band-Aid of a new sponsorship deal. And stepping directly into the center of this chaos today is the ultimate pragmatist, José Mourinho.
Tasked with cleaning up a mess he definitely did not create. It is a powder keg. Every single element, the tactical imbalance, the financial deficit, the clash of massive egos, is a highly combustible variable.
And the fuse has just been lit with Mourinho's arrival.
Absolutely.
Which leaves you with a chilling final thought to chew on as we watch this summer unfold. With all this talk of internal power struggles, the desperate need for deep defensive reinforcements, and a glaring lack of sellable fringe assets.
Yeah.
What happens if Jose Mourinho decides that the only way to balance this team tactically and the only way to fund his defensive war financially is to demand the sale of the absolute untouchable jewel of Florentino's crown?
Oh, man.
What if the Galactico era isn't going to be saved by Mourinho, or what if it is about to be violently dismantled by him?
It would be a controlled demolition.
Yeah.
Tearing down the luxury penthouses to reinforce the foundation.
Sometimes, to win the most important hand, you have to know when to fold your most expensive card. The clock is ticking on the summer transfer window, and the pressure inside the Bernabeu is reaching a critical mass. Thank you for joining us on this intense, deep dive into the heart of Real Madrid. Keep your eyes open because this casino never sleeps.